Here we are. We're starting a new podcast.
Yes.
We've been talking about this for a long time.
I've been talking about this for a couple years.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, we have. I guess before we dive into that, we'll talk about who we are.
Hmm.
So my name is Marco. For those that don't know me, um, we've been youth pastors for about almost 10 years now
Yeah.
at a local
And young
church
adults.
and young adults. That's right.
Don't
Yeah, can't
forget about
forget young
them.
adults. Can't forget about them. Um, but yeah, that's a little bit about me. What about you?
That's the same as me.
Well, I mean, but your name is Jordan. It's not
Oh, okay.
Marco,
Yeah.
all right?
Okay.
So
Well, my name is Jordan, and I'm also a youth pastor with you
yeah,
and young adult
that's
pastor
right.
for the
Yeah.
past 10 years.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 10 years now. We're blessed to be a part of a church in Marlborough, Mass. And yeah, kind of a crazy journey how we
Hmm.
got there.
Hmm.
Um, but I guess, yeah, why did we start this podcast? What's the purpose of it?
Well, for me, my heart for it was that I just feel like God has blessed us with some wisdom over the past 10 years, especially being in ministry
Yeah,
and being a family, being married. We have two kids, almost three.
yeah,
And so I feel like we just, I don't know, had another output, like another way to speak to people besides just um the platforms that God has already given us, which we've been
yeah,
blessed to have those as well.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, like you said, right? So we've been pastors for 10 years, almost 10 years, been involved in ministry. And yeah, I think there's also, at least for me, there's a lot of lies out
Hmm.
there, right? There's a lot of evil, there's a lot of darkness in this world, and I'm gonna be honest, like, and you know this too about me, like sometimes I can get caught up in like just pointing out the evil
Yeah.
that's happening, and then I can try to justify it as righteous anger, but in reality, I'm not like doing anything about it, right? I'm just,
Yeah.
I guess, trying to fight evil with evil.
Yeah. So I feel like this is our way to try to fight it with light.
Yeah, with light. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think at a personal level, I'm trying my best to use anything that I have available to me, any channel, any platform to try to speak more about Jesus and
Yeah.
what he's done in my life. I was always very anti, and I think you and I have shared this a little bit,
Yeah.
right? A little bit of like anti social media or just trying to be less engaged in it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it can be a powerful tool to reach
Hmm.
people if it's used properly,
Hmm.
right? So I'm excited for it. I think the other reason why we started this podcast is just why not? Like,
I know.
honestly, I know there's like a million podcast out there that have a lot of great content, but maybe somebody wants to hear something that we have to say.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're like our goal or whatever it is to like reach all of these people. And I
No,
mean, if God were to do that, then great. But if it were to just reach one person, then
yeah,
we'd be happy. And we always talk about that, even when it comes to speaking messages. Where like if it one person leaves with something, then it was worth it.
yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
feel the same with this. Like if
Yeah,
one person leaves with something, then it was worth it.
yeah.
And so that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, we're definitely not trying to become
Yeah, we're not.
influencers through
Yes, I
this.
know. I feel like people are going to see this and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, look at those
No,
two
we have
trying to
a
become
pretty like
Christian
minimal
influencers.
setup here.
No, we're
No,
not.
no,
We
absolutely not.
we
Um,
just feel like God is calling us to do this.
yeah, yeah, and I think beyond that too, I think one of the things that I know and you and I both know is that we've gotten the opportunity to meet a lot of great people
Hmm.
in his journey, which means we've come a lot of great stories as well. I
Hmm.
think part of what we're going to do here is share our testimony, share about what God's
Yeah.
been doing in our lives, and also be able to share stories of other people, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully, be
I
able to
think
have them come and share their story.
that is such like a cool part of pastoring is meeting so many different people and getting to know like the depths of their
Yeah,
life, not just like what you see on the outside. And so because of that, like you said, we do know so many people that have such great wisdom to share and I
yeah,
would like love to have them
yeah,
here.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, we already have
I
them
could drop.
here
Yeah, I
in
know, I
this
know, I know,
living
I
room, but
know.
I mean here with this.
With this, yeah, no, absolutely. Well, actually, that brings up a good point. We want to call this the living room with the
Mhm.
florist, right? We were kind
Yep.
of trying to figure out what the name was going to be. And we couldn't really settle on something. At first, we were talking about it being open book. I think because we wanted to be very honest about like our
Yes,
lives and our
and we were
marriage.
like open book, like open Bible.
Yeah, and we thought we hit
Okay,
something. We
yeah.
thought we did
Well,
something
we
there.
did hit something that
We
everyone
hit we
else
hit a
had
hundred other
already
podcasts. Yeah,
thought too.
exactly.
Yeah, so that's
So
not
it's not
it.
that. But we thought about the living room because one is, well, this is where we are, our living
Yeah.
room in our home, but also it's a very welcoming space,
Mhm.
right? And the goal really for this is to create a space where people feel comfortable sharing stories, sharing their lives, and
And I feel like, while obviously because we do pastor, like the church building is so important. I feel like so much of church is done in the living
yeah,
room.
yeah,
The conversations we've had, the moments we've had with each other, with our family, with other people, it all has taken place in the living room.
yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
I mean, our actual church was started in a living room.
Yeah,
Not our
that's
church
true.
because we don't
The
run a
church that the church
run a
that we're a
church,
part
but the
of,
church that we
absolutely.
are part of started in
Yeah,
the living room.
yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of power in the center of the home, which
Yeah.
is the living room.
Yeah,
So
100%. Well, I'm really excited for not even tell you this, but I'm really excited for people to hear from you because I think that obviously I'm involved in preaching a lot, right? I preach almost every Wednesday at
yeah,
youth. I preach on Sundays for J High, our middle school ministry. I
I
preach
mean,
sometimes on Sundays
I
on the main
get
side.
in there when I
Yeah, yeah,
can.
yeah. You try. I
I've
know.
just been having babies for some
Yeah. Well, it's
reason
a
the
different
past few
season of
years.
life.
So
It's a different season
yeah,
of life that we're in, and man, we'll dive into that's a whole podcast episode
yes,
in and of itself. But yeah, I mean, we're just in a different season of life, and I don't think people get to hear from you enough unless they have those one-on-one living room conversations,
hmm
or they talk to you on a Sunday. But life's just a little bit different now. So I
mm,
think being able for you to have this in our living room after the kids have gone to bed, hopefully they stay in bed. Um, is huge,
yeah,
because it does give you the ability to share your heart and what God has done in your
hmm
life, without necessarily being on a platform,
yeah.
with the limited time
Well,
that
I
you have.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know this was your idea, I think, at first.
It was a couple years ago, and I've
Yeah,
been asking you to do it ever since. But
I know, I know. I've been pushing it off, and honestly, I don't really know why. I think, well, for starters, this took a little bit to set up. Like, if you
yeah,
guys hear me
yes,
when we first started, I was a
yeah.
little bit out of breath because this is a bit of a setup. But
Yeah, and also because, like, when you started setting this up, the kids were awake and they were
yeah.
like, "This is
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
We just wanna
Yeah.
play with
Our
this."
boy
And
was scratching
so
the mic and
we
just
were
trying to
like,
get
"Okay,
after it.
maybe not set it
Yeah.
up
I
while
know,
the
I know.
kids
I
are
was just trying to get
awake."
ahead. But now that I think it's set up, I think we have a pretty good idea of what it'll be like, and I
Yeah.
can kind of just leave
Mhm.
it as this. And you know, of course, when we have maybe two other people here, it's like, all right, now I gotta figure
Yeah,
out
yeah. Well,
new
that's okay.
spots. But it is what it is. But yeah. So it's called the living room with the florists.
Mhm.
Florists or the florist?
The floors is
The florists.
yes.
It's funny because
It's
that reminds me.
plural.
It makes me think of
There's 2 of us.
yeah, you're right. There is two of us here. It reminds me of our daughter. I don't know if I'm supposed to say her name or not.
I think
Maybe.
you can say her name.
Okay. Well, most people probably know her anyway. But my daughter Hannah, she's our oldest, and she started watching a show. I think that was put together by Life Church, right on YouTube. And when they pray out, they say in Jesus' name. That's what it
Yeah.
just made me think of the florists, because I'm so used to the apostrophe at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
that's how my brain works. That's
Mhm.
just how it works. But yes, so that's what our goal really is with this podcast, is to just share a little bit about our story, be able to shine a light
Mhm.
of obviously what God is doing in us, through the ministry that we're a part of. We're so blessed to be a part of this
Yeah.
church. I can tell you that, I mean, when we get to talking about our testimonies, we'll share a little bit about this. But if it wasn't for the church that we're a part of, we wouldn't, have the community that we have. That's
Mhm.
really I think the backbone of
Yeah,
the friendships that we have is the church.
absolutely.
Um,
I
so
say this all the time, especially in the season that we're in,
yeah,
because we are a family, like a young family with young children.
yeah,
And I genuinely would not be able to do this without the church
yeah,
and the community that it has given us. Like,
yeah,
I, my heart breaks for people that haven't yet found that
yeah. And
and
that's what we
connected
and
in.
obviously our heart is to see people come to know Christ and to give their lives to Jesus and to
Mhm.
be transformed by it. And part of that too is experiencing the community that is found in the church,
Yeah.
because it's so powerful. So, anyway, that's what this podcast is about. And
Yeah, and I think we didn't say this, but we're gonna be doing just, like, so many different topics. Like, it's not
yeah,
just gonna
yeah,
be,
yeah, absolutely.
like, one topic focused.
Yeah, we'll talk about, I don't even know. We have a lot of different things we can
So many
talk about,
things.
but marriage, we'll talk about, you know, how to be disciplined in your relationship with
Mhm.
God, children, right? Doing ministry. We've been bivocational for almost 10 years. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to
Yeah,
share. Um,
and I don't think, like, our goal is that it's not just for people that are, like, also pastors, it's for just, like, everyday
yeah,
Christians.
yeah, absolutely. And also I think for somebody that maybe doesn't even consider themselves to be a Christian to hear this and just realize that Christians are real people.
Yeah.
It's just that we've been transformed and we admit that we are sinners. We recognize the sin in us
Mhm.
and our need for a savior.
Yeah.
That's really
Mhm.
so. That being said, I think to start it off, I would love to talk a little bit about our lives and how we
Mhm.
came to know Christ, kind of the beginning of everything. If you want to get started,
Yeah, I can't
May
talk
9th,
too much. Yeah.
1994.
As you tell everybody my birthday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't even know how to say this in like a small, short way.
That's
So,
okay.
yeah, but
We
I'm
got
not going
time.
to
There's
talk
long
here for
form
2
content.
hours. Like we're
Okay,
not going to
okay,
talk
you're
for
right.
2 hours. Um, but for like the beginning, I would say it started when you and I started dating, which was unbelievably y- young.
Yeah,
We were 15
yeah,
when we started dating, which is wild. Oh my gosh, so wild. Because we do youth ministry,
yeah,
I think about that and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how did our parents let us do that?" Okay, that is so beyond the point.
yeah. Well, but we talk about that all the time. Like being youth pastors, we talk about like
And
we
no hate
encourage
no
youth to
hate on my
nod.
parents.
No, 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 no hate on the parents. Like, but we talk about we encourage our youth not to
Yeah.
date, right, in high school, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I think part of like the way that our testimony, obviously, like God has, like, He turns everything to good, and He did that for us. Um, because you grew up in the church and
Yeah,
I did not.
yeah,
And so I was already getting some seeds, I feel like, from you in the beginning of our relationship, even though I was so against it. I was not like fully against it, but you were bringing me to
yeah,
a Spanish speaking church
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't speak Spanish. So I was kind of just like there,
yeah,
but at least I was going there. I think I only went there a handful of times, but whatever. It was like I knew that that was something that was part of at least your family, not necessarily you because you weren't
You're
living
not
that
wrong.
way.
You're not wrong.
But I knew that it was something that was important to your family.
Yeah,
And when it comes to my testimony, it wasn't until many years later, but it was you that pushed me in that direction. And so even though you weren't living the Christian life either, I feel like God was already like throwing in those
mm,
seeds from 15 to 19, which is when 1920, which is when I officially was like, I need
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'll kind of share my side of that. But to your point, I grew up. So I was born in Peru, right? So I'm not from the U.S. Came here at 11, and fast forward, I really spent, I would say, the majority of my early teenage years just trying to fit in, right?
Hmm.
And I've talked to you about this. I mean, you went to school to be a teacher. You had to deal with or you have to learn about how students from other countries have to learn English, and
Yeah.
you asked me a lot about that, and I was like, man, it's brutal.
Oh
Like you
my
just learn on
goodness.
the spot.
No, I was baffled by how your education
Yeah,
was, and I am amazed by how much you
I
learned.
appreciate that. You guys will pick up some of the words that come out that
Okay,
where you can
but
hear an
I
accent.
met you like 2 years after, and you
Yeah,
barely had an accent. Like, how did you pick up English so
I
fast?
don't
I
know.
don't
No,
know.
I don't know. I don't know. But I would just like get tossed with headphones and like a CD player, and it would just
Yeah.
play these lessons, and it did nothing for me, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I'm sure
I
it
think the way that
didn't.
I learned was really just by talking, hanging out with people.
Uh-huh.
But I just spent those teenage years trying to fit in and really lost myself in different groups. Even though, to your point, I grew up in the church, my parents got saved when I was, um, man, I was like, when I was a kid.
Mhm.
My mom grew up in the church as well. My dad later on sort of converted from Catholicism, and they were both really plugged into a church. My brother and I, we grew up in the church, but then we kind of faded
Yeah.
away. When we got into high school, I just was like, I'm not about this at all. And I think I just never really had my own personal relationship with God,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
then we started dating,
And then
and
we
I
started dating, and
didn't. So
you were like,
I know. And I wasn't trying to,
no,
like,
not at
I
all,
don't
not
think
at
I
all.
was that, like, I was not, like, maliciously trying to, like,
No,
pull you
yeah,
away. I just grew up in a divorced home, and there was
yep,
really no religion that we, like, had found. We
exactly,
were looking for
yep,
something,
yep,
so
right,
we tried a lot of different
yeah.
religions
Well,
in
there's a
my
void
house.
in everybody,
Yeah.
right? And they're trying to fill that with
Yeah,
something,
yeah, yeah.
and they're gonna fill it with something.
Oh, yeah, we tried, and
Yeah,
it wa we have
right.
some funny stories about that,
Yeah,
but, um and so I don't think I was necessarily trying to pull you away from the Lord,
yeah.
I just didn't know that I was.
No, I know. Yeah, and I think because I wasn't rooted, right? I didn't
Mhm,
have a personal relationship. I was like, sure, like
mhm.
we'll just do whatever. And
Yeah.
then I quickly realized just how dark things got, right? So,
Yeah, and I think that, like, it it always, like, saddens me when I think about this
mm,
part of our relationship because God was speaking to you and you were listening,
yeah.
and I just was like, "No, I'm gonna be the louder voice in the room."
Wait, you talking about the time
Like,
when we
when
were in
you were
college and I was
yes,
like,
yes, and I was
I
like,
think we're
"No,"
done. Like,
and I
there's
was
something
like
like God's calling me to something. You were like, nah,
no. You were like,
yeah.
"I think that we need to break up," and I was like, "We're not. We're not
That's
breaking up."
wild.
And you listened to me,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I
and
didn't have
you
a strong enough conviction.
specifically told me
Yeah, I felt like
that there
God
was
was like,
something, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but I didn't understand that, and so
It
because I
wasn't
had
time
no
yet.
relationship, I was like, "That makes no sense.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not gonna break up with
Well,
me
and
because of
honestly,
that."
like it felt to me at the time like I had gotten a word, and I was like, oh, maybe,
Yeah,
but I wasn't convicted enough, and I wasn't close enough to God to be like really certain of it and
yeah,
stand my ground. I was like,
uh-huh.
yeah, like I think we should break up, but like I was like in my head, I'm like, I can be easily
Yeah, and
convinced
then,
out
like,
of
fast
this,
forward 2 hours later, and
and
we
we're
were
just
not broken up.
no, we weren't, no, no.
Yeah.
But well, yeah, so we grew up together,
Mhm.
right, in a way. I've known you now longer than I haven't, which is kind of
Yes.
crazy to think about.
I know, but I love that.
No, of course, it's the
So,
best. Because well, eventually we got married, and we got married young.
yeah.
But yeah, so we were both, um, grew up together, and then eventually when we were in college, we did break up for a little while.
Our breakup, I feel, was so sad for me because I wasn't the one that broke us up, it was you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's all
Just
right.
had to
No,
put the blame on
you
you.
know what? I stood my ground
Um,
this time, though.
you
I,
did. Yeah, you did,
I
but the
can't even think
reason
about it
wasn't
because
the
no,
same.
it's
The
not, and it
reason
breaks
wasn't
my
the
heart
same.
thinking about it.
I don't really still to this day
Well, I
know
know
the
we've talked about
reason.
it. It was
Yeah, it
we
was
were
kinda
just
wild though. It was
really
like one
attached to it.
day.
Yeah, I know. We were really attached to each other, I
Yeah.
think unhealthily
Oh, yeah.
and
But
yeah.
I feel like that breakup was the beginning of, like, breaking down the things that needed to be broken
Yeah.
down
Yeah, for
inside of
sure.
me, because for so many years, I had put my pain and my trust and my faith and all of that in you, in a
Mhm.
person
Yeah.
instead of the Lord, and I never was
Right.
seeking him out, I only was seeking you.
Yeah.
And after that
That's
breakup,
good.
I feel like it, like, broke me so much
Mm.
that it was the part of my life where I started to realize, like, like, I need something more than just a person.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen right away. It actually took a couple years and for me to actually, like, come to the Lord,
Yeah.
but that was, like, I feel like the
That was
beginning
the
point.
beginning. Yeah, I mean, we just lost ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And during that time and yeah, I have outside of the fact that I felt like we were really attached, and I think part of it just being real. Like we were in college, and I was like, man, like I've only known this girl,
Yeah.
right? And in my head, I'm like, am I really gonna marry this girl? Like, are we gonna be that story? You know?
Well, I don't know if we ever believed we would be.
Yeah, because we had a lot of people that said like we were
You're
not
not.
gonna. Yeah, you're not. But anyway, we ended up breaking up for a little while, and yeah,
Mhm.
to your point, that was the beginning of us really. kind of hitting rock bottom.
Yeah, because even when we got back together, we still were
We were
not
still so
searching for the
lost. No,
Lord,
yeah,
and we were
absolutely.
still so lost, but I feel like the breakup was like the catapult to that
Yeah,
that, like, rock bottom.
yeah, exactly. Well, and then fast forward, we are sitting in a mall parking lot.
Yeah.
And I won't get into specifics because I think that's a whole podcast. Like the
Yeah.
what was going on in that moment. That's a whole episode in and of
Oh
itself
my
because there's
goodness.
a lot of background in
I know,
that.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, "Do you
You
want
could
me to say the whole
we
thing?
could go
Because I'm gonna
on.
be here for
We could go on
hours."
for a while, but we're sitting in a mall parking lot. We're
Yeah.
back together now, all right,
Yes.
and
Still not living
not living for
for
the
God.
Lord. Absolutely
No.
not. Running away from Him, I think, as fast as we could, and I think I had like the Lord had been tugging at my heart for some time, but I was just ignoring all the signs.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, like, obviously, the Lord who's always seeking after me,
Mhm.
but I think I was just so blind to it. So I
Yeah.
don't think that I actually had any recognition of
Yeah.
that happening whatsoever.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And man, I just think back to that time and like I knew better. I think that's what's hard sometimes to think
Mhm.
about because I knew better. Like my parents raised me better. Like I knew the word, but I didn't know him personally.
Yeah.
Right. Like I knew about him, but I didn't know
Yeah.
him. And
I did not.
no, I know.
I
But
did not know the
thank
the
God,
word.
thank God for praying mothers.
Oh, yes.
Thank God for faithful people because I believe God answered prayers in
Mhm.
that
Well,
mall
he
parking
did,
lot.
and specifically your mom. And I think back at that because when I was growing up, like when I was a teenager, I would be so annoyed. I would like think and I'd be like, what is she saying to me?
Yeah.
Like she would be so truthful, like
Mm.
just like straight shooter,
Yeah.
like this is sin, this
Yeah.
is like how you should be living. And I would roll my eyes
Yeah.
so hard because none of it was sin to me.
Yeah.
None of it made
Right.
sense to me. And now I look back at it and I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm so
Well, you would
grateful."
like you I
And
feel
now I'm
like
like, "I'm her."
yeah. Well, I think you guys are so much more aligned in principle and belief
Oh,
and
yeah.
values now. Um,
Thankfully.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we're sitting there and we look at each other. We're like kind of at rock bottom, both you and
Yeah.
I, for different reasons. And I was like, I said, I think you have
Yeah,
to go to
well, I think
church.
the conversation was at that point kind of based around what was going on in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah, because there was nowhere else to turn to fix the
Yeah. Uh-huh.
situation, you
And you
know?
were like, "I think you need to
I think
go
this
to
is it.
church."
I think this is it. You gotta go to church. And in my head at the time, it wasn't even God. It was like, I think you gotta find a church,
Mhm.
because I knew like, God's presence is there, like, but it wasn't like you need a relationship with God. It was like you should probably go to church.
But I think that's because you didn't have a relationship with God
Absolutely
either.
not. Yeah.
So, you were
Um,
just like, "Go to church.
yeah.
That's gonna be your
Yeah.
solution."
Exactly.
I mean, it was.
Yeah. Hey, God did something through it. So then I say
That
that,
yeah,
and
that's
you
so
were like,
funny.
okay.
The reason why I said okay though is because I was so rock bottom that I was willing to try whatever. And it wasn't even like this feeling of like, yes, I feel the void. I feel the lack. I need the Lord.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was
You were
like,
just
I
desperate.
need
Yeah.
my life to change,
Yeah.
and I've tried this, and nothing is working,
Yeah.
and I don't know what else to do. So if someone's gonna give me a suggestion, I'm gonna take
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna see what happens.
It's kind of like the woman with the issue of blood in the
Mhm.
Bible, right? Where she reaches out to Jesus. She's desperate. She spent all of her money, everything she has, all her
Yeah.
resources
And
in
it's had
trying
been
to
12
fix it.
years,
Yeah.
like,
And then
so long.
she was just desperate. And she's like,
Yeah.
there's Jesus. He's been healing people. I'm gonna do what I have to do to get
Mhm.
to him. So I think that was part of it. You're like, I'll try anything.
Yeah.
So is that desperation that drove you to look
It
for a
was
church?
yeah, it was my desperation, and I will say, like, I was on it.
You jumped right away. Like we talked
Like,
about
I
it, and then
think
you
it
were like,
was,
all
like,
right.
that week or
Yeah, you
something.
started looking
I
and
was like,
you went to a couple.
"Okay." Yeah, I drove all the way I don't know why I drove into the city.
Yeah, you went to
I
Boston,
went to Boston,
which for those who don't know, we're about an hour
40,
away.
45 minutes away, yeah.
Rush hour is like 2 hours, but
Okay, but
but
what's rush hour on a
me,
Sunday
I drive to
morning?
during
Yeah,
rush
for
hour.
work,
Yeah.
but
But
okay,
anyway,
but, like, realistically, we're
yeah,
45 minutes away,
yeah,
and I don't know if it was because I was still trying to hold on to that, like, city living because
Yeah.
that was also part of the thing is, like, I had just, like, moved out of the city.
Right.
So I think part of it was, like, I wanna, like, stay cool
Yeah, yeah.
and then go to Boston.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
And I got there and there was no parking and I got, like, stressed out and couldn't
Yeah.
find anywhere to park, so I just, like, drove home.
That wasn't the church that
No, no.
okay, okay.
So then I ended up driving I went to 3 different churches in one day.
On the same
Like,
day. Wow,
yeah,
I
the
didn't know that. I
same
thought it
day.
was 2, and then you
No,
came
no, no.
back. Okay.
So I, like, was really just and it wasn't just me, it was me and my mom. So my mom was coming with me, and then we had driven to another church. I couldn't even tell you the name. I can't even tell you what town it was in. But we went to this church and no hate again, like this is not me saying this is how you should do church.
Yeah.
But the host team was outside smoking at the front door,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
just so off-putting to
It was a
me.
little wild.
Just, like, you're supposed to be welcoming me in, and so I didn't even get out of the car.
Yeah.
We literally turned the car
Yeah.
around and, like, drove back home, and we were gonna be, like, calling it quits. We were like, "This is n clearly not working." We just drove to Boston, drove to another town, now we're back home,
Right.
and I had this, like, memory pop into my head about a church that was legitimately 2 minutes from my home that my nurse growing up had invited us to, and I was like, "I think they still have
Yeah.
one more service
Yeah.
left for the day." And my mom was like, "Okay, well, we're 2 minutes away. Let's just go see if they're
Yeah.
still open." And what's so great about our church is it says the times right
That's right,
outside.
that's right.
And so I saw the time and we still had time. So we went to that service. And then that was the last time I ever not like stepped foot in a church. That was like my
Yeah.
first day I walked in there. I have been
You were
going
locked
there
in.
since
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's funny enough is that same nurse that you had, I did as well,
Yeah.
and she's still in the church today. She's a
Uh huh.
blessing in our lives. But yeah, so you went to church,
Hmm.
and then you were like, "This is awesome. You should come."
Well, yes, but I had a lot of questions still.
Yeah.
It took
Yeah.
a while for me to like fully
Oh, yeah, for sure,
understand,
yeah.
but I was just excited to tell you. Like
Yeah.
I remember being like coming home and just being like, "Hey, coming home. We didn't live together. That made
No,
it
we
sound like
didn't.
I was coming home to you. No, I like came home and you came to my house
Yeah.
and I was talking to you and I was just like, "Hey, like I really liked it. It reminded me a little bit of your old church that we would go to, but in
In
English."
English.
And I was like, I connected to the message and all of that stuff. And I was like, you should come with me.
Yeah, and I
And
was
what did you
like
say?
I vividly remember saying, "Oh, that's great for you, but I have a church already." And
Yeah.
what's crazy is that yes, so I grew up in a church, right, in the same town. That was a blessing to me growing up. I would attend here and there, but I was never really rooted in it.
Hmm.
I was kind of, as our pastor likes to say, riding the coattails of my parents, right? And I was like, I'm good. I think I told you I'm good. I have a church,
Yeah, you did.
but I went like once or twice a year.
Yeah. Well, what
Yeah,
was ironic is that, like, you told me that you had a church, yet I was the only one going to
you were the
church
only one
on
going.
Sundays.
Yeah, yeah. So it took a little bit to for me to go, but I
And
went.
it was what was funny is that, like, I would come home on Sundays and talk to you about what the message was because I was so like, I was such a
You were
baby
like moved
Christian that
by
I
it.
had
Yeah.
so many
Oh yeah, yeah,
questions and
yeah.
so many things, and you were answering them.
Yeah, like
And
I
you
said, I
were
knew.
and you were, like, answering the questions where I was like, "No, like, this is what I think it is." And you're like, "I
I was
understand this
like,
is what you think it is, but this is
actually,
what the
yeah,
Bible says."
yeah,
And so, like, you knew it.
I knew
You
it,
just weren't
but it
there.
wasn't. I wasn't there yet. So then, fast forward, and now I think it was a Christmas service. No, the
Yeah.
Christmas play
Yeah.
was the first time I ever went. I was like, sure, like it's Christmas, sure. And you had gone probably for 2 months, month and a half without me.
Yeah, probably.
And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll try it out. And I went to the
Well, because I
Christmas
just didn't
play.
wanna I mean, my mom was coming too, I think it's still at that
Yeah,
point, but I was like, "I don't wanna do this alone."
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
come with me. Yeah, I went to your church. I was like and
And
I
you
didn't
didn't
even
speak
speak
the
the
language.
language.
Funny story on that. Okay, real quick.
Oh
Pause on
gosh.
the testimony.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
the first was it the first time you ever came with me to church? It was
That
one of
was
the
the
first
youth
times, the
group,
youth group.
was the first time I
So we
ever
went to you
came.
went to the youth group with me, and we played a game where
Yeah, that
people
was
had
so
to put
sad.
their names in a box, and they had to
Yes.
guess, right? They had to guess
We
who
had
the
to guess
person was.
who the name belonged to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if there must have been a lot of new people that day then if they did that, because
Yeah,
we would not do
because
that at youth. I mean, that
everyone would know
everyone would
each
know each
other.
other. But anyway,
Yeah.
so it was the youth pastor that pulled out the name Jordan,
Yes, and
and
I got his name too,
you got his
and I
name,
didn't know how to pronounce it.
right? You struggle with that, but he got your name out, and your name is
Ugh.
Jordan, named after Michael Jordan
Yeah.
by your lovely
Well, I
father.
don't think people actually know that
It's true.
that me, a female,
You were named after a male
well,
basketball
my
player.
mom liked the name, and then because Michael Jordan's name was Michael
Yeah.
Jordan, that's what got my dad on board.
You, 5 foot tall,
Yeah.
Caucasian female, were named after a
Yes.
6 foot
Oh,
6, 5,
yeah, I have no idea how
black
tall he
basketball
is.
player.
Yeah. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? In high school,
Defensive player of the
guess
year,
not yeah, but guess what my number was?
23. Where
23. It was a
okay.
prophecy.
Yeah, I guess so. You were a baller though, I will say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Well, that is
they
long
pulled the
gone.
name out. They pulled Jordan out, and well, he was calling out every boy in the group,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you're just sitting there.
Yeah,
First of
having
all,
to
trying to
take it.
understand what's going on
Yeah.
because it was like English
Yeah.
Spanish,
Yeah, but
and I was like
there
trying
was
to
some
explain to
English though
you. Yeah,
because I feel like at
the
that time
youth
the
were a
youth
lot
was
more.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they were like had grown up here,
Yeah.
but yeah, he called out every single boy,
Yeah.
and then I think
Like every single boy
yeah,
before he decided to be like, "Oh wait, this
could be a girl.
could be a girl."
Yeah, and I think yeah, that was your experience. Anyway,
And if you know me, and if you don't know me, my natural self is an introvert.
yeah,
Like my
yeah,
like
you were
like
like
that was
it was tough.
terrifying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
I
was
just
you were
wanted to like
melting.
shrink into myself and never walk back
Yep,
into that place ever again.
yep, that's right. Um, where were we? In the
I
testimony, I lost it.
don't know. Wait, but like, gosh, this is going to be so long. Other kind of like funny thing about that is that you have a tattoo of my name,
But it's your middle
but
name.
it's my middle name.
Yeah.
Why? Well, one, you do call me
Well,
by my
one, because
middle
I call
name.
you that.
Yes, but also you didn't
I
want
didn't want people thinking I had a
anyone.
man's name on my arm.
Yeah.
What's the problem
So
with that? I don't think that's a
apparently, this
problem.
is just a thing that
Yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
think that
No, but I
that.
love your name. You know that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I call you. I never call you Jordan. That's
You
true. I
don't.
never call you.
If you call me Jordan, I'm like, dang, I did something
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah. All right. So getting back to it, I went to the service. It was the
Oh,
Christmas
yes.
play.
I'm like, where are we?
I don't know how we got there, but I went to the Christmas play,
Yeah.
and I was like, cool. Um, this was nice. Um, and then I was like, you know what? I'll try again.
Yeah.
Like I'll keep trying. But again, I was like, oh, I kind of have my church. I'm not really gonna go. You know.
But
Um,
then they were starting around that same time because I think it was launching in the new year was the young adults community group.
yes, they were starting to young adults.
And because of that, we had a few young adults like come to us and connect with us about
Yes, so
and
I think it was
inviting
the
us.
maybe if it wasn't the first day we were there, it was the first time that it went that it wasn't the Christmas play.
You. Yeah.
Yes,
You.
and I saw somebody that I knew that I
Mhm.
had gone to high school with, and I was like, wow, like it's awesome to see what God has done in her life.
Mhm.
And they came up to us and they just talked to us about Revolve, which is our young adult ministry. And you hungry?
I don't know. You're gonna
It's
have
the
to edit
baby.
out some sounds.
It's okay. No, this is real. This is the living room.
Yeah.
Well, because we are.
I'm
We
just
didn't
gonna
even mention
let
this. I don't know if
everyone
people
know
know.
I'm 37
Yeah,
weeks pregnant. I
maybe the
could
shot's not
have
catching it,
a
but
baby literally
I
anytime
mean,
in the
literally right
next.
now you
I
could.
could.
You've never gone this early
No, I
though.
haven't. But
Uh,
who knows? Third baby.
third baby.
I'm
They come.
surprised.
They
You
come.
never know.
Yeah. But yes, we are recording this about 3 weeks before your due date.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not?
No, because you were like, I'm about to go on a leave. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
we have the
so much
time.
time.
Might
And
as
I was like,
well.
we're
And you
about
were
to have a
like, well, you were like,
newborn.
I'm out of breath.
I
Like I
can't
can't.
even
I
talk.
can't talk.
Like,
Um. So anyway, yes, I go to the Sunday service. They connect
yeah.
us with the Revolve, and we ended up going to it. And that's where we
Yeah.
met our senior pastors, who were at the
Yes.
time
Uh-huh.
the youth and young adult pastors.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like that was such a pivotal moment for
It was.
my
I was still kinda like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
but that was the fact that one, that people took time to, like, talk to us in
Yes.
church,
Yeah.
which is so important, and we try our best to, like, talk to people
Yeah.
when they come to church for the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time because that like, knowing that someone took time out of their
That's
day to
huge.
connect with you is really, really
Yeah.
important.
I love by the way, I love how our pastors stand outside of the
Yeah.
church.
No,
That's
he
like
gets
that's
out there
on
before anyone.
they
He
stand
was like, "I will make sure" both
you
of
you
them,
gonna say hi to me.
"I'm gonna say hi to every new
I
person that
love it.
walks through
Because
these
that's not
doors."
common. A
No,
lot of
no.
times you'll see pastors, they'll finish preaching and then they'll head to the back and to each their own. You know what I
To,
mean?
like,
They might
prep
have
for the
valid reasons to prep for the
next
next service,
yeah,
but one
mhm,
thing that our pastors do so well is that they're connectors,
mhm.
right? And they really love to connect with people. And I've always admired that.
Well, yeah, and so then after they had talked to us and we went to that first community group,
Yeah.
um, and it was, like, a young adult specific one.
We were probably the no, we weren't the youngest because one of our really good friends was there as well. And he
Yeah.
was the youngest,
And he
I
was like,
think.
"Who
He was
are
a
these
baby.
people?" No, but I always laugh at that community group because we were so unchurched that I had no idea what I was even walking into.
Yeah.
And there was a hangout before and everyone's like gathered, but I saw seats, so I was like, "Oh, I should
We're
be
just gonna sit
taking a
down.
seat."
Yeah, we just
And so
sat.
I sat alone. We sat
And
alone.
that's when Pastor
But then
Chat
yes,
came and
that's
talked to us.
when our pastors came and connected with us and we were talking to them, and in that community group, like, I have no idea, as I said, I'm an introvert and I was like
You're
chatting.
like, "Yeah, this is what I'm dealing with,
I was like,
brat."
this is what I'm dealing
Like, "I need
with,
Jesus
this
bad."
is my mental health state right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
But it was so good because the next day I had Pastor Julie, I had the other community group leader, like, those people were reaching out to
yeah,
me and they were like, "Hey, like, this is I went through something similar." I think Pastor Julie, like, sent me a worship song to
yeah,
listen to, and so it was just the beginning of me feeling really connected
yes,
to church,
yeah,
and I think part of why I really needed church was also that community aspect,
yeah,
which we talked about in the beginning of this,
yeah.
like, and I
Well, I think you struggled, I think, in high school and then definitely in college with making friendships that were really for you, right? They were really
yes.
helping to build you and, vice versa, that you guys were sharpening each other. It really wasn't none of that. And I had maybe a glimpse of that, but not really.
No, I remember being like, "Wait, this is what it feels like for people to actually care about
This is
you?"
yeah,
I, like, never knew that
yeah,
before in a friendship,
yeah,
and I was kinda awestruck at first because I was like, "I've never had someone care about me this much or,
yeah.
like, want to invest into
Outside of each
me."
other. Like, at the
Yeah,
time,
this
it was like,
much.
"This is it."
Mhm.
And I think that's why we grew so codependent
Yeah.
dependent, because we just looked for that in each other.
Mhm.
But having that in people was huge,
Yeah.
you know? So then, yes, we went to Revolve. I was still 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You were, like, all in. But then things started to click for me.
I will say, though, I was all in, but I was all in with, like, such a baby
Well,
mindset.
just a lot of questions,
'Cause I just
and
didn't know
which is
anything.
okay.
I
Yeah,
didn't know anything, and I didn't know what the word said, so, like, I didn't know what would be considered, like, we talked about earlier, like, I didn't know what was considered sin, I didn't know what grace was, like, I didn't know
yeah,
anything. I didn't even like, it's so silly, but, like, I didn't even know the actual full story of, like, Jesus's crucifixion
mhm,
before I came to
yeah.
church.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, you say silly, but some people are in that
yeah.
place right now, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Because they
It's
just have
not silly. I
never
shouldn't say it's not
No,
silly
but I
because
get
I
it.
wasn't actually like, that wasn't something that was taught to me,
Yeah, exactly.
but
People just don't, they don't know if they haven't been
yeah.
to it,
Mhm.
and they may have grown up in a church that maybe didn't teach it, whatever it may be, but at the end of the day, yeah, I think you became a lot more aware of, okay, this is what it's actually about. Like, this is what it means to be a Christian, and it started to hit you.
Yeah, I think honestly, it was like I was getting a touch of God, and
You were tasting and seeing that
and
he
yeah,
was
no, I
good.
was,
Yeah,
and I was just like, "I need more of this,"
yeah,
and so, I didn't know a lot, so I did have a ton of questions for a
yeah,
while, but I was like, "I need more, and I need more, and I need more, and I'm
yeah,
just gonna keep taking and taking and
yeah,
taking because this is what" like, I could tell at that point, like, "Oh, wait, this is, like, what my soul has needed.
yeah,
Like, this
exactly.
is what I have been missing
Yeah,
all of these years,
yeah,
and this is what's going to heal me from all of the things that I'm struggling with. And I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but
Right.
it was clear to me that that was the missing piece.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so fast forward, you're asking me some questions, and I'm like, I know some answers, not all of them,
Mhm.
but I'm not living that way either, right? I'm going back to school because I was still in college. You were kind of in and out of school at the time. But I'm living one way Monday through Saturday, and I'm going to church on Sunday.
Mhm.
And then I'm like,
Well, I was also kind of
this is
doing that
me.
too for a little
Yes, yeah.
bit.
But I got to a point where I I'll never forget this, and I've talked about this story before. I was driving home, or I was driving back to college. I think it was after a Sunday, and it was late at night. I had just left your house, and I was driving back to school, and I heard the song "I Can Only Imagine," which is an absolute classic. It's a banger, and I don't know what happened, but I just started sobbing in that
Mhm.
car and thinking about what it would be like to see God, and to be in His presence.
Mhm.
And I think I genuinely surrendered my life then.
Yeah.
Um, and that was sort of the turning point. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I woke up the next day and whoop, all this stuff is done, like I'm done with everything. But that's when the ball started rolling. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this serious. And we started to have some tough conversations.
We did, and, like, honestly, it was so good because our pastors were so patient with us
Yeah,
too, and I was just like, "I don't understand why this or why
yeah,
that," and they just were so
yeah.
graceful
Well,
and
it was hard for us
patient
to let go of
and
certain things,
mhm,
because we had been living like the world for so
mhm.
long that it was hard for us to switch into,
Yeah.
okay, that's not us anymore.
But when I look back at it, especially now, because we lead this age group, I'm like, okay, in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, it took me so long to make some of these decisions. And now when I look back, I'm like, wow, no, we were like this. Like we made some
In a way,
decisions
yeah.
so
And we see
quickly.
that sometimes in people,
Oh
and
yeah.
I think any church leader can understand the feeling of, wow, this person's making a lot of decisions fast, like it's just gonna stick.
Hmm.
And there's sometimes where it does, sometimes where it doesn't. We've seen it. We've seen people be on fire for God
Oh,
for
I
like
mean,
6 months and then they're out of the picture. And we've seen people be on
yeah,
fire for
but
God
then
and stick.
that's like the parable.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's the same thing.
Exactly right.
Um,
But I will say this. I have to say this. There is no past that God can redeem you from.
absolutely.
Like, you and I have lived through rough past, even stuff before we even met each other, things
Hmm.
that we experienced in our families that we went through, which we'll talk about in different episodes because we have a lot
We
to
said we
share.
have so
I
much.
know. But
So much just
but
so
we
much to talk
both
about.
have past, that carried pain,
Yeah.
that carried shame,
Mhm.
that carried, just darkness,
Mhm.
right? And God has redeemed that. And I hope that encourages somebody, if they're watching and
Mhm.
listening, that there's nothing that they're going through right now or that they've been through that God cannot redeem.
Mhm.
God can use that past to help other people. Things that I've struggled with in my life, things that I've gone
Mhm.
through, I've been able to help other people with as
Mhm.
well. Same with you. You've been able to speak into people's lives
Yeah.
in some of these living room conversations, right? Because you went through it
Yeah.
and it wasn't pretty, it was messy, but you have the ability to now speak into that person's life
Yeah.
from the perspective of, hey, like I've been through it,
Yeah.
and through Christ we can overcome,
Mhm.
right? So I just had to mention that because I know there's probably people listening that are wondering that, like, is my past too messy? And that thing of
No,
like, oh, when you walk into church, the church is gonna burn down, it's gonna fall down because of your past, because of how you're living. It's not. It's really not.
because it would have if we walked through and
Yeah.
that was the case. But no,
Yeah.
God is so good that
Absolutely.
his grace covers all of that. And I think that when our testimony, like the beginning of like the actual change is when we realize though that yes, God's grace is so good, but we also need to
Got to
like
make some tough
make
decisions.
some changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I feel like for us, part of it was just knowing like, okay, what do we want? What do we believe? And am I going to say that I believe the Bible? If I say I'm going to believe the Bible, then I'm going to just completely have my life match that.
yeah,
And whatever doesn't match that, I'm like plucking it out and
plugging it out.
taking it
Yeah.
out. And
And
I
some things were
feel
easier than
like
others.
I mean, obviously,
And we're
that's still
still
like us today.
that's right.
I mean, we're always changing, right?
We're
You read
being
something and you're
sanctified.
like, "Wow,
Yeah.
like I read that multiple times and now I'm thinking about it in this way
Yeah.
and now I need to change that."
Yeah.
Um but in the beginning, there were some things where we're like, okay, yes, we need to stop doing this. We need to stop doing this. And then there was other times where we're like, is this really what we need to stop doing?
So one of the things, and we don't we don't have to get into too many specifics, but we weren't living right in our relationship
No.
from the beginning, and obviously, being that we weren't really, we didn't have a relationship with God, we didn't feel conviction about it.
No, I had no conviction
I think for
about
some
that.
time I felt shame because I knew,
Mhm.
like, I know I shouldn't be doing
Well, I
this.
think that's partly why you tried to break up with me the first
Yeah, I was
time.
like, I think we gotta stop. But then once we got saved, and like I said,
Yeah.
we had that moment of realization. Um, right away, I was like, all right, Jay, like, no more sleepovers, no more, none of
That
this.
was hard for me because part of it was like I was like, "Okay, but if we're not doing anything wrong, then why does it matter?" I remember I, like, sat down with
With
our
our
pastor,
pastors, that's right.
and I was like, "I don't understand
Yeah,
this." And they did help me understand it, but I wasn't happy about it. And I think that that's the part that, like, some Christians get a little mixed up, is that, like, you have to be so excited about every single decision that you're making for the Lord. And while, yes, your heart posture should be joyful and cheerful because you are being obedient and
right,
disciplined,
right.
but it's not always easy.
No,
And
no.
so I was sad. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, like, this means I'm not gonna see him as
yeah,
much, and
yeah,
this means that, like, my lifestyle is gonna
yeah.
change."
I was living about an hour away.
Yeah. So I
Um,
knew that that meant that, like, there was gonna be sacrifice on both of our ends, and I was ready to see you every day if I could.
yeah,
And so I was like, "Okay, well, now I'm sad that I'm not gonna see him as
yeah,
much." And so it wasn't easy, but I think we got to a point where we're like, "No, like, we're gonna make every decision that we know we should be
yeah,
making,
yeah,
whether it's hard or not."
yeah, yeah. And it wasn't. What's interesting is it wasn't other people pushing us in that direction. It really was the Holy Spirit. Because
Oh,
to your point,
absolutely. Yeah.
we had the conversation, and then I was like very like sure about it, and you were like, I get it, but I also don't get it. And then we were just honest with our pastors, and we're like, hey, we're dealing with this. How many conversations have we had with people who have said the same thing to us, and then we've counseled them through it, but then they've gone back and just continued to live in that
Yeah.
way, and that's
So
always
many
that's
people.
difficult, you know.
Yeah.
And you pray for them and you encourage them, but our hope is that at some point they realize the like what's actually
Like
happening
the
because it's
weight.
more than
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
physical, right? There's a spiritual component to it. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole
Okay.
nother thing.
See, here we are
I know,
talking for
I know.
however long.
Um,
That's also because we are pastors, so we're used to having
I
long
know,
conversations
I
with
know.
people.
And there's grace in all of it, honestly. And
Yeah.
my I believe people can truly be set free from that, and really being set free, I mean the being able to exercise self-control and
Yes.
increase and discipline
Well, I mean,
and
we lived it. So, I
yeah,
mean, like, we ended up obviously making the decision to just stop
yeah,
everything. And we stopped going to parties. We stopped having sleepovers. We cut out relationships. Like, there was just so many things that we did
yeah,
so quickly. And I really feel like that was, like you said, the Holy Spirit just completely transforming
yeah.
our
And it
life.
wasn't like this is not, by the way, you're like, oh, look at us type of deal, because we were messed up.
No, no,
Trust me,
this is really all of us. Like, I mean, all of us. This is
both
really
of us.
for us to say, like,
Look at what God
look at how
did.
good
Yeah,
God is,
yeah.
because we wouldn't have done that
No, absolutely
on
not.
our own.
I remember, our young adults and our youth are probably sick of hearing the story,
Oh,
but
because we've said it so many
I've just talked
times.
about it a lot. It's just it's so relevant for
Mhm,
them because they talk about friendships and how
mhm.
hard it is to leave them, and I talk about how when I was living at school and after I got saved, I was supposed to be living with my roommates senior year. I was about to head into senior year. I got baptized, I think the end of that summer, and I was like, I think it was in May though, early in the year, that I was like, I don't think I can go live at school again. Like I'm gonna finish school, but I can't live there because I saw the cycle of I'm going to church on Sunday and I'm starting now to get involved. I'm trying to serve, I'm trying to do right. I'm trying to live according to God's plan for my life,
Mhm.
but I keep going back into this environment that keeps pulling me back into who I was.
Mhm.
And it sounds so easy, like, oh,
Yeah.
well, then just get out of that place, like just remove yourself. But it's easier said than done,
Yeah.
and I had to call up my roommates one by one and tell them I'm not coming back to school to live there. I'm gonna finish school and I'll see you guys
And
around.
they were
But
genuinely good people. So it
yeah,
wasn't
absolutely.
like
They were,
you were.
and by good people I mean like they weren't saved, but they
No, no,
were
no.
good people by the world's standards,
I've
you
heard
know.
though that one of them might be,
Oh, is that so? I don't
or
know.
at least,
Maybe.
oh,
Maybe. I
we'll
don't
have
know.
to talk
Maybe. I don't know.
after.
Praise God. But
Maybe.
yes, I mean, I had to make that decision, and that kind of left me in a way, without friends really for a little
Yeah.
bit. But there was like the church was starting to really become a big part of our lives. So I was starting to gain friendships there, and I never felt like I was lacking.
No, and for me, I think I was always the opposite. Like you said, in high school and in college, I always struggled to make good
Yeah.
friends. And I had some friends, but I knew that they were so surface level. Like it wasn't people that that cared about me. And now when people ask me about my friends, I'm like, I have so many, and it's not to brag. And it's like
Yeah.
I genuinely, I will keep saying this. We're not trying to brag. It's just this is how good God is. And this is why church is important.
Yeah.
And this is why community is
So
important,
important.
because He will bless you with
He
that.
will.
He will give these
Because
people to you.
it's not just about look at all the friendships that God has brought into our lives, but what we really want to hone in on is how those people have been there in our lives when you've been sick, right?
Hmm.
With our children, which again you'll have time to talk about, but they've brought meals to our
Hmm.
homes. They've watched our children, right? They've helped while we're trying to do everything else. When we've gone through stuff in our families, they've prayed with us.
Hmm.
They've encouraged us, right? They've welcomed us into their homes. Like it's just a different type of community,
Yeah.
right? It's not just there for the Friday nights or the Saturday nights
Hmm.
when things are going well. No, it's like when things get real, that's when the church really shows up,
Hmm.
and they that's who the church is, and that's why we love it. Um, okay, so then we start to make these decisions.
I know we gotta like
We gotta get. I know we gotta
pick
get
up the
moving. We gotta get moving.
pace.
We make these decisions.
Yeah,
We start to serve. We get
we
involved in
did.
youth. We get involved in young adults.
Yes. Okay, but it was like it wasn't like overnight. All of a
Nope.
sudden, we were
No, no, no.
involved. We started in the cafe together. That was our
We
beginning,
did the cafe. Till this day, is still one of my favorite ministries that I ever served
and
in.
it's been so long since you've
Yeah,
been in
I
there.
have a
But
picture. I have a
yes,
picture in my I think in my
I think we're
Facebook,
both like,
and we're like this, so hype.
yeah.
Um,
But then we did eventually start attending youth and serving there, and then young adults was really natural because we were
because
young
we were young
adults,
adults. Yeah,
and it was more just like, hey,
are we
like
still young
we're
adults? Not
no,
by the definition anymore. But anyway,
unfortunately,
anyway,
no. Um, And so I think that was just kind of like a natural thing of like, hey, we want to help out as much as we can in this ministry
yeah,
because this ministry like is what it's here for us.
yeah.
Um, yeah, you
And
can.
then we just started serving,
Mhm.
and eventually started having conversations with our pastors. Just we never even said that we wanted to continue to grow in leadership. We just wanted to serve. We're
No,
like,
we
well,
were
how else can
just
we serve?
like just give us more.
Yeah, yeah.
Just give us more.
And
Um
then they were transitioning to become senior
Senior
pastors.
pastors, yeah. And I think what's so cool about this, it was just so organic. It
It
just
really
really
was.
was. Obviously, like neither of us had being pastors as like our this is
No,
our goal, this is what we're moving for. Um, I think it was really just the fact that we just had such a heart for people and for the church, and we had seen what it had done for us, and now
yeah,
we just wanted to give back and be
yeah.
like, how can we do this for other people? And so over time, we just got more and more connected and involved. Um, but it was like I said, it wasn't overnight. It took time. I mean, but after a while, it was just like, this is my life.
Yeah, this is it.
Like this is just my life, and this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And we had no title, and I didn't
No.
need a title, but I was just like, I love these people. I love the Lord. I just want to live my life for
You
this.
remember, I think it was your first Summerfest ever? Was it?
Yeah.
Where you
My
had to
first
go home,
Summerfest,
you had
yeah, I
some
had to
medical
leave.
stuff you were dealing
I've
with?
had to leave multiple Summerfests for injuries and things like that, which
Yeah,
is so
yeah. Those
crazy.
are that's our summer camp, by the way. For people that don't know, Summerfest is our youth summer camp.
I have made it the past couple of
You
times
have been
without
there.
any injuries
Yeah.
or any
Yeah,
issues.
that's right. That's
Well,
right.
this past one I went with a pick line, but that's okay.
Yeah, and the one before, we went with,
A
our
baby.
boy, yeah,
And this next one will go with
and this next one will
another
go with another
baby.
baby. But anyway, yeah, we just started serving, we were just on fire for the Lord. You at that Summerfest, I think that was the moment where you were like you had to come back home, we were 2.5 hours away,
I
and you were
wasn't gonna come
like, "I'm not
back
gonna come
because
back."
I'm like, I'm not like I already was here for a couple days. Like I'm not
Yeah,
gonna come back for like the last day when
and you drove
and
back.
I did. I was
Yeah,
like, I can't miss it.
yeah, yeah,
I always laugh because in that camp, the last night, I definitely was just like overcome by the spirit. And I was just like sobbing. Don't know why. Just like knew God was moving, knew the presence was there. So I was crying. And the person that like I went to, which is so funny because I was there as a leader and this person was there as a youth. So like
okay.
kind of odd that I would go to this person and be like, come here, give me a hug. Like, because now when I think back, I'm like, imagine if one of our leaders did that to a youth instead of like a youth doing that to a
Yeah,
leader. But, anyways, and now she's one of my best friends.
yeah.
And we
I
like
think that was
laugh
God
about
doing
that
something.
moment because
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't even know what was going on.
yeah,
I don't even know what I was crying about. It was just like, I think it was just the fact that like God was still just like healing so much in my heart.
yeah,
And in that moment, just the presence of him was like, I didn't have to go to the altar. I didn't have to like speak out words to him to get healing. It was just his presence was
yeah,
enough.
absolutely.
And that was just like so overwhelming to me. And so I was like,
Yeah.
let me share this with someone.
Yeah, and then our pastors are transitioning to become senior pastors, and
Yeah, but you can't make it seem like it was just like we got there and a couple
no,
months later we were
no,
pastors.
no. It
No, no,
was
no, no.
fast,
It
but it
was
wasn't.
fast, but it was
It
not
honestly
that
was. I
fast.
think I talk about this a lot. I felt like God really, fast tracked our lives
Mhm.
in ministry, and sometimes it can seem like, oh well, you know, you guys got lucky or whatever it may be,
I mean,
but
it was
really,
fast.
but I do think that the decisions that we made. And this is what I talk about all the time. Some of the decisions that we made in those first 6, 7 months of being Christians, some people take decades to make.
Yes. Yeah, because from 20 to 22, like that was the
It was
timeline.
the flip of like,
It
whoa,
was like 2 years and then within 2 years like we were married at 22. We were like about to take over these two ministries.
yeah,
Like so much happened in
yeah,
2
and
years.
and it genuinely was like this like complete surrender,
Yeah.
and then God just started pouring wisdom in
Oh, and
our
I think
lives, and
like our pastors were like they had to seek counsel too because they were like, "Is
yeah.
this stupid?
Well, there was there
Like,
were
is
there
this
were
dumb?
other options. There were other
like,
options, and
are we
then
making the right
yeah,
choice?" And that and their higher ups, like their pastors, were like, "Yeah." And
yeah.
I still can't
I'll
believe
never
that. I'm
forget getting
like,
a
"Oh my
call,
gosh,
and
I thought
our
we were in
pastor,
trouble."
yeah, I was like, he's like, we got to connect when I get back,
And I was like,
and I was
"No."
like,
'Cause we
sure,
were already running a community
we're already,
group at that
yeah.
time, and I thought they were gonna, like,
Like,
tell
all
us
right,
we're
that's time,
done,
yeah.
and I was, like,
Um,
so sad
and I
about it.
remember we sat in their living room, and they were like, "This is what we believe God is calling you to do," and I think right away we were like, "Yeah,"
And they were
and
like,
they're like,
"Why
"Yo,
don't
well,
you pray about
pray
it?"
about it a little bit," and we're
And we're
like,
like,
"Okay,
"Okay."
yeah,"
I think, like, the
and then
later
we
that
got in the
night, we were
car, we're
like,
like,
"We
"Yeah."
prayed. We're good."
Yeah, and then
And we had no idea what was about to happen
no,
because it was, like, what we said yes to versus what God has done, I feel like are 2
yeah,
totally different things.
oh,
Like, I had
100%.
no idea what I was saying yes to, and now I'm like, "Oh, this is so much
Oh,
better than."
yeah. Yeah, it's that's we'll do an episode, I think, on just what ministry has been for us because I
Mhm.
think it is important to talk about, kind of the trajectory of where we
Yeah.
started, where we're at today, and the
Well,
vision
because
that God
ministry
has
looks
poured
so
out.
different. Like, it looked different when we were 22, freshly
Way
married
different.
versus
Yeah.
now we're 31, about to
Yeah.
have 3 kids in it.
Yeah.
So it looks so different.
But and I know you feel this too, is this fresh outpouring
Mhm.
of what God is doing in the church and what he wants to do through these ministries that I'm like, I'm excited. I'm like on
Yeah.
fire. But really today we just wanted to talk a little bit about what this podcast is about, talk about our testimonies, how we ended up where we are today.
Because that's the first question that people ask us
Yeah.
usually when we're
It's like,
like meeting with new
oh,
people is like, how did you get connected? And so,
yeah,
what better first episode to talk about in our living room than the number one conversation that's the first conversation we
that's right.
have with people?
That's
So,
right. Well, we're excited for this new season that we're
mhm.
entering with this podcast. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm excited to be doing it with you.
I
Um,
might take a couple
that's
off.
okay.
We'll see.
That's okay.
We'll
We'll
see what
figure it out. We'll
happens.
figure it out. But I'm excited because I think we'll have a lot of great conversations here.
Yeah.
We'll get to, share more of our story, learn from people as well, hear their
Yeah, and it's
stories.
not gonna just be like testimony based. Like
No,
we have so much.
there's other things we want to talk about too, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm just pumped.
Hmm.
I'm pumped, and I will say we are committing. We talked about this. We're committing to doing this for at least a year.
Hmm.
So we will reassess next December 2026 and see where we're at. But we don't really even have a cadence, like this is how
No,
often we
we
want to put this
we
out. We're just
genuinely
like
were like, "Oh, okay."
we're just gonna
No, it was
record it.
actually you. You were like, "Hey, like I know that we've talked about this, but do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we just
And I was
did
like,
it.
okay, we're gonna do it
So we just like
this. I
did
think
it.
I try to do it like
You tried to do
Sunday, and you're
it
like,
two
nah.
nights ago,
You're
and I
like
was
Monday,
like, "No,
no.
I'm so
We had
tired."
a youth activity too, and
Yeah,
then so today we're like, okay, we're gonna do it. We're
yeah.
gonna do what we say we're gonna do.
Hmm. And we
Um,
did it.
and we did it. That's
We
right. And
did
if we
it.
do one episode, this is no I'm kidding.
No.
No, we're committed. We're gonna do. I don't know how many, but we're gonna put some out.
Yeah, you said you want to put 3 out before this baby's born. I
I
don't
don't know.
know if
I don't
that's gonna
know. I don't know.
happen. We'll
Yeah,
see
we'll
because
see.
that's really optimistic. Also, we have no
Yeah,
idea
no,
when this baby's
that's true.
coming.
We really
So,
don't. We really don't.
yeah.
But
So we'll see.
we'll do this, together as long as we can, and then
Hmm.
I'll see what I can do. But maybe next time when you're back after the baby, you'll have a little sleeping baby in your arms. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who
Or a
knows?
crying
Or a crying
baby.
baby. We'll see. Well, thank you guys for being a part of this.
Hmm.
Thank you for listening. If you made it this far out, I think you are either a family member
Yeah. Or
or
a church
or
member.
a church member,
That's okay.
but we do
Honestly, that
thank
might
you.
be our only audience,
That's
and that's
okay.
okay.
That's okay.
That's totally fine.
That's totally fine. But thank you guys for listening, and we're looking forward to the next episode.
Hmm.
Thank you. All right, we did it.